Hello guys, and welcome back to another KSP2 video. In this video we're going to be landing on the moon near the strange signal we've received. Also, I'm apologising for how rushed the last video was. So yeah, sorry for that. But anyways, let's go see how the mission control's going to describe this mission to us. Also, let's submit the Lonely Satellite mission that we did last time. And we get another thumbs up for completing another side mission. I think in this video we're going to end up completing the spacewalking mission or side mission, and we're ideally going to complete the lunar signal mission. So let's go through the insanely long brief saying how they picked up a strange signal on the moon that's insanely catchy apparently, and go there to investigate. So I'm just about to click on the R&D center. At first I didn't know what to get in the R&D center, but when I got stuff I looked at some of the others and went, I shouldn't need that, and then when I was on the run I was realising I should have got it because it would have made it way easier, or way more easily. So I look at these, go, I won't need those, and then I look in here, go, medium launchers, those will be useful. And I actually use two of these parts in this mission. I get advanced electronics because I want those foldable solar arrays. I look at that one, which would have been very useful to get, the durable power systems, but I decide not to because why would I need a medium wheel at the moment, reaction wheel at the moment, which I do. And also the advanced aerodynamics would have been useful because you come in insanely fast from orbit, which you can guess from being thousands of kilometers away and then having to fall back towards Kerbin. You can kind of guess your pick up at high speed. So I get all of these. I actually do use the tiny engine, so that was a useful thing to get. But I'm going to go into the fab, place down a single, can't remember what it's called, gumball I think, I can't remember what it's called, but the smallest tin can, there we go, the tin can. Then I start to play with more efficient ways to get it back. So I look at like these and then go, what if I use a bigger engine and equip a bigger capsule, and then I realise I don't have big enough landing gear, so I bring back the tin can. Then I look more propellant and go, oh, that might be actually a good idea because I can get a lot more meters a second for the fuel. I check I do have it in the right size, so I put that on and then put on the drives, not realising on the side that it shows them as RCS. When I spot that, I realise actually I'll just use a normal one, but I can use the smaller engines, which will give me once again more thrust for how little they are, or more thrust for less fuel, more thrust. It's early in the morning, my brain isn't really running right smoothly. But here you see me just put on a heat shield, because I remember we needed that. If I forgot that, this thing would not have survived the entry. So I start doing all of that, start putting on the base fuel tank for actually getting into Mun orbit. And then I actually see the RCS thing, take it away and redo the engines again. So you see me just checking how efficient they are right now in this area, and then comparing it to the Spark engine. I end up deciding to use the Spark, but then I see how the shroud goes and realise that's really ugly, I won't do that. You'll see me realise that in a second. And it hurts my eyes to even look at on this video that I'm using to do this recording. So I decide, what if I put down a I can't remember his name as well. I know I'm amazing at remembering names. So I get the actual landing engine and the Mun orbit engine and landing gear all down, which works really well. So here I'm now putting an engine mount on to see whether the shroud will actually go to the engine mount instead. Sadly it doesn't, so that was off the board after I tested this. So basically I decided whatever I do is going to look ugly. But after this I decide I might as well keep trying, and I decided to put on a cargo thing, I can't remember his name, cargo fairing, that's it. Honestly, my memory is getting worse. But I put on that, realised that I need to put it under the cupola after. I then tried to expand it up. For some reason my game's being really laggy. I think it's because of the software I used to record was somehow making it really laggy. So you will have noticed that if you don't like lag or play on a fast computer. So I actually look at the ant and decide I might as well put some of the ants on, because they actually will work just fine. And maybe because I put multiple on, it'll actually get rid of the thing, the coupler not attaching to the shroud. For some reason here I try and do without the multiple thing. Actually, I didn't realise that at the time, but I've actually done it without the multiple engine attachment points. So maybe that's why it isn't doing it. Sometimes I'm not paying attention enough when I'm building the rocket. I go to attach a fairing to cover the really ugly bit so it looks good on the way up, and then realise I need to separate it off the fairing. And it's really difficult trying to move a piece when you've got a fairing thing in the way. So I decide no. I go to click on the mount, the bit where the fairing originates from, and then it puts me back in the do you want to build a fairing like this mode, or whatever it's called. So I say no and have to have another go. Then I start building the fairing up and around the main module for landing on the moon. It's going to take me a long time to get used to saying moon instead of moon. But as you can see, my lag is really spiking here. So this was like so painful to do. Like it was just not doing as I wanted it to do. So finally I get into Spike how I wanted it. I update its ejection force because 100 kilonewtons or whatever is just not strong enough to launch it away. I mean, I should have actually put it up a bit higher because one of them did hit the front of the module. But here you can see me getting a stabilizer and putting it in. I should have put in more, but I didn't have any medium ones, so it's just painful before I get rid of the stage before this. But I'm pretty sure it does help slightly on the way up. So here you see me just attach one tank, because this is just to get me to the moon from Kerbin orbit and help a bit with Kerbin orbit, and then like help a bit with slowing down as well. So this thing just does a bit of everything except for taking off and coming back into Kerbin. This is the main stage, which is primarily going to be used to launch. It does help with getting into Kerbin orbit. But yeah, I just add 2 fuel tanks, one of the largest, one of the second smallest. Then my new powerful engine with 1600 kilonewtons of force, which I think is rather impressive by the 600 kilonewtons of force of the smaller one. That is not that much smaller. So here I'm just putting on the boosters. Then I move it up so it's actually sitting on its boosters instead of its main thruster, because I found out that makes him more stable. I then decide one isn't a good idea. Well, actually, to be more realistic, I realise I only have one, and that's a very bad idea because you start making your rocket do flips. So I had 4. I'm still not convinced that this is enough at this point, but I just go with it. I go to put on some little thrusters to like push away a piece after it's been decoupled, but I decide none of them should need that. I add some solar panels to make it so I don't run out of energy when I'm transmitting something, if I'm in space when I'm transmitting it. And then this is the really awkward part, is actually attaching the solar panels to the main lander, because I didn't actually do it before. So I end up just kind of guessing, because even though I click the button to make it so I can see through it, I just can't. So now that's done, I just quickly add the aerodynamics onto the rocket. So the nose cones for the boosters and some stabilizers. I actually decided the small stabilizer looked decent in its normal form on this, so I just left it like that and start arranging the like 6 quintillion stages. Also, I don't think I've mentioned yet that in this series I'm going to actually leave all the debris in orbit if it stays in orbit. So I should have put something on the landing stage, because that's actually in orbit now around Kerbin. So that's going to get in the way if I get to an orbit that intersects that, because it might just hit me and that'll end the mission. So I have some debris in orbit that I don't want in orbit. So as this series goes on, it's going to get harder and harder to get off Kerbin's surface without hitting something. So that's going to be interesting. Like, I'm probably going to take off one time and a piece of debris will just go, "Hello there," and then hit me in the side and take out my rocket. So now I'm just finishing up the rocket and going to the launch pad now. It says you need 10,000 meters a second, but you don't. But anyways, we're about to go off to the moon, or the Marn I mean. So here we go, let's send Bill Kerbin to the Marn. So as you can see, the lag kicks in already, and I'm like, I don't even know what this would be called, bunny hopping up on rocket engines or something. It starts to smoothen out, but here you see me reduce my main engine, because that actually saves a ton of fuel. So actually you might need 10,000, but I save a ton of fuel by putting my main engine on weaker, so it just carries the weight of the middle of my rocket, so the boosters don't snap off and come in on themselves. I've found that out the hard way before. Depending on how powerful your boosters and how strong your connections are depends on how much thrust your middle engine has to give. But here you see I'm going up a steady pace, and basically freeze because of the lag. So I'm just steadily going up now. Yes, it's rather slow actually getting up in this rocket. This is not the fastest rocket you can make, I don't think. You could probably make an insanely fast rocket that can get to the moon or the Mon. Anyways, in a second we'll be coming up upon decoupling the boosters. It's not as impressive as it could be, but oh well, guess that's how it goes. And 3, 2, 1, and stage 1 is decoupled around now. Now it's decoupled. So there that goes. I put my throttle to full, and the rocket actually stays surprisingly stable through that. My rockets normally get on a slight wobble. Whenever I come out of map view, for some reason it puts my camera right under the engine, which gives me insane lag. By insane I mean this game would be unplayable with that amount of lag. There we go again with the insane lag. I mean, it's a very cool angle, but it's got a ton of lag. Or a ton of lag comes with the insanely cool angle. Anyways, the AP is just coming upon our satellite's orbit. I want to go 50,000 meters past that, or 50 kilometers past that, roughly. Because higher up you are, easier it is to get to the Mon normally. So you see me just start playing with the maneuver node to get it into orbit. So the maneuver node, to use it, you just put on the, can't remember his name, but the green one that I'm putting on right now, and then if that green one's pointing up too far, you kind of pull down or up depending on which way your orbit goes. So you normally just get into orbit with that and then start to edit it by putting those two blue, because the pink only really puts your orbit on an angle. So here you can see I finally get it into the correct orbit that I want, which takes quite a while to get into, I've got to be honest. And then I'm just checking how high up it is. This completely avoids the, the satellite's orbit, which is nice. So I'm about to skip to the maneuver node, time warp, whatever it's called in Kerbal. In the near future, this is going to get cut to the point where I'm going towards, or I'm in an orbit around the Mon. But for now, I've just deployed my solar panels. One of them actually looks like it's using the reflection of the other one to actually give itself the power it needs. So I'm now just going in my kind of child's rocket ship looking spacecraft to go to the Mon. And you see I don't have enough fuel in this main engine, and I actually moved the next one down, so it's easier to swap to. That's why I said this next engine will actually be used partially in basically everything. So it's used here just to get into the right orbit. Then it's used to get into the right orbit to get to the Mun. Then it's used to get into orbit to the Mun. Then it's used to slow down to try and land on the Mun. Then it's used to slow down even more, so it's a softer landing on the Mun. Then I finally detach it like 1,000 meters above the Mun and just start using my landing engine. So it's like this engine, if I didn't have this engine, this entire mission would be just, it wouldn't happen. So if you're building a rocket like this, remember to add the second stage engine, I think it is, or the dual thruster belled engine, because it's really good for manoeuvring in space. I think it's my favourite engine for getting into orbit and stuff. Anyways, just about to come up on the cut where I'm going to cut to the Mun, because it's honestly boring otherwise to watch all of this stuff happen. So I'll be about to go around the Mun, or land on the Mun, because if you don't know how to do this, just go back to episode 3 where or episode 2 I think, actually went around the Mun as well. I can't remember, but go back to episode 3, definitely has it in me actually doing all the manoeuvring to get to the Mun. So here you see, you need to aim 1/6 in front of the Mun, which I've got really good at. So where my mouse cursor is literally exactly where the Mun is going to be. Like, just don't ask me how. I just managed to get it directly on each time. So now I'm directly on the Mun somehow. Like, first try. I don't think I've seen many other people be able to do that. No one in my household has even gone to the Mun. But anyways, I'll start to accelerate and then it'll get cut all the way to the right orbit above this strange signal. Now, there we go, now we're around the Mun, just getting into the right position. And then you see me start to use the maneuver node. You might notice I'm still on the same engine that I used to get into the Kerbin orbit. Now I look back on it, how much I wish I actually put that node way closer to the point. Basically I was 3 kilometers away because I wanted to not land on top of it. I had to actually move the lander because it was just too far, and when I time warped, for some reason the landing gear glitched out and started launching the lander onto his side. So I'm going to put in a cut for that as well. And this video, I've cut out like half an hour of it and it's still an hour long. So if you're doing this, make sure you have enough time as well if you're going to go around the Mun. So here you see me just approaching the manoeuvre point. Now, because I've shedded that first stage, my capsule actually, or my ship actually turns a lot faster. So here we'll be about to accelerate, or In 3, 2, 1, and now I'm accelerating in the wrong direction to decelerate myself. There's no other way to really explain it, because you can't really decelerate in a ship. You can just accelerate in the opposite direction. That's what some people don't get about space travel. You can't just turn off the engines and stop. You have to actually accelerate in the opposite direction. That's why most Star Wars ships wouldn't work. Or actually, I think it's all Star Wars ships wouldn't work. So here you see the Mun getting very big, very fast. Or not that fast at the moment. When you have like 5,000 meters, it looks very big. So as you can see, now I can zoom in a bit more. You can see how far away I'm going to land. So I moved myself a bit to the right, I think, or closer to the weird looking signal thing. Or Stargate looking signal thing. So actually I put on the flag that I plant, which you won't see because I'm going to cut it till I'm actually walking up to the Stargate thingy. Yeah, that flag actually says landing B. What is that? Comma, a Stargate, question mark, because it looks so much like a Stargate out of Stargate. But anyways, now we're at 8,000 I think meters. The floor is looking rather big and the monument is looking rather far away. So that's always fun to have. Last time when I did this not in a video, I managed to land 3 kilometers, 0.4 on the other side. And this time I've managed to land 3.4 kilometers away on this side. So I swear I just can't not land 3.4 kilometers away from it. Except for when I've actually landed and then moved my ship, because I have enough fuel to do that this time. Would have been nice to have some spare fuel, because then I could have got rid of the landing stage so it smacked into the Kerbin. But there goes the I can't remember his name, stage. You'll see it blow up in a second and the Kerbal control go, what the hell are you doing? You're blowing stuff up. Even though that bit's meant to blow up. So it's actually a surprisingly big explosion when it hits the ground. There goes the explosion. And it says part has insufficient lighting. Or can't see the sun. I think I'd be more worried about the part being in a fireball, but that's my opinion. Quite clearly not the Kerbal's opinion. So here you see me just about land. You get to see 2 touchdowns because I cut it just before the touchdown. Because I have to do 2 hops to get over there, because I'm kind of bad at doing precise Mun landings. And touchdown, and cut to second touchdown. Now, there we go, and second touchdown. So now I'm going to get out. You can see how much closer the Stargate thingy is now. It's surprising how bright it glows when I think the sun is on it, but it just glows brightly all the time. And the green gem is a star shape for some reason, so it breaks like the sequence. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Now I'm going to leg it over there in 1 times speed, because otherwise I'm afraid my landing is going to do the weird boingy thing and like smite my rocket into the ground. As you can see here, I'm just checking my rocket actually is still standing up and nothing weird has gone on. And then I clicked the wrong button, so I started walking the wrong way. But this will take like a minute, so if you skip ahead like a minute or something, I will be there. Or maybe it's like half a minute. I haven't timed it exactly. But it takes a little while to walk over. But it isn't too bad, it's only like 300 meters from my rocket and I'm close enough to it to do the experiments and stuff and complete the mission. So here I'm approaching it, and anytime soon it'll come up with the you've completed the mission. And it's insanely hard to get the scale of this thing in a game, but it's like massive, like my Kerbal's tiny by it. Like this thing's bigger than like the entire Kerbal Space Center. So, still approaching it, my camera starts clipping into the ground. I'm just waiting to get there at this point, and in a bit it'll finally say you've arrived at the weird signal. I'll do some surveys, and there we go, some surveys around now. So I do crew of I can't say it, and then run the surface survey. Sadly it just says surface sample instead of mana sample or something, which would be way cooler and funnier. And there we go, so now I just need to turn around and go back to my flight safe, which is only 300 meters away. So skip however long that just took again if you don't want to see my Kerbal leg it back to the fly safe. This takes insanely long time. Like, it's only 300 meters. Like a normal person could probably walk that in like, I don't know, or run it in like 30 seconds or something. Actually, I guess you couldn't. So I guess he's quite a fast runner if he's in a space suit as well. But slowly the fly safe is getting bigger. I forgot to name this moon mana landing or something. So it just says fly safe 5, which shows you that it is the 5th episode because it's the 5th fly safe. So this is going to take a while, and you can finally see it at this point. He's actually running at 9.5 meters a second, which I think is about 3 miles an hour or 4. It's actually rather fast for being in a spacesuit. I mean, quite clearly he's determined, or not determined, because he could run faster maybe. But he is already quite a fast runner. And you see me struggle to get in the capsule. I could have actually just jumped, which I actually find out in the final attempts. So yep, that's how it goes. It's managed to stay upright this time, so I did have to revert it once because it was lying on its side. So activate the jetpack, hop, forget how to go up on the jetpack, end up on the solar panel, go forward too far, try and walk backwards, end up walking on top of it, then go back down, but my finger wasn't on F, so I didn't manage to actually click on it. Here I realised I can jump onto the solar panels, even jump high enough to get into the door. So I actually walk forwards towards it, jump up and grab on, then board it, and then autosave, then send back some science, then autosave, or not autosave, quick save again. So yeah, this mission is so stressful, or it was so stressful on the man. And then I forgot to quick save on the way into Kerbin, which is like the riskiest part of the mission. So that nearly went wrong. Or it could have gone wrong, because I was only 4. The floor gets very big very fast, as I say, when you're coming in at 3,000 meters a second. So here you see me just keep doing the science. Then I autosave, or not autosave, quick save, sorry. Game saved, it says at the top, so I know it's done it. And then I go full throttle and then tip over side. I don't know whether this has a sideways, but I think it's sideways. So then I get into small like N on the surface or over the one, and then just cut off my engine so I know I have enough fuel left for manoeuvre, and then create a manoeuvre planner again. Manoeuvre planners are like what saves Kerbals from dying every mission to the Mun. Now without them it would be like impossible to survive a mission to the Mun. So once again I click on the target icon, which you must not forget, down in the bottom left, which will point your ship in the right direction, so it will complete the manoeuvre plan. Then you just full throttle for whatever time it says, and then we'll end up in Munna orbit or something. I don't know what it would be called, but orbit around the Mun. So there I stop it. I actually go for a bit more because I want it a bit higher, but I end up with a nice orbit around the Mun. Then I attempt to put a manoeuvre planner in to go back round. I actually get this perfectly on 196, and it's actually a decent amount. It's actually got a really nice orbit around Kerbin, so I guess I'm lucky. So this all, and you see me just getting it right, because I don't want it too strong, but I don't want it too weak. How much I thrust, I don't want to thrust too much, because then I'll be too far away or out of Kerbin's SOI, and I don't want it too weak, because then I'll never leave the Mun SOI. So actually 196 is around right for it, or my orbit, which I'm insanely surprised about. But I just walked to it, thrust, and then I ended up going roughly in the right direction towards Kerbin. I'll cut it as I go out, or check whether I'm going out in the right direction, because I don't think you need to see anything except for how I plan it, because by now, if you've been following, you should have been able to do maneuver points. So there, see, I run out of fuel perfectly. And then I get some pictures because this is a really cool angle. So as you so when you see everything stop, that's actually me going to turn off my lights because I get glare on my laptop. And then I start taking some pictures with my phone. I've got to be honest, one of these pictures might actually end up on as the thumbnail, but I'm not sure. It might not. It's quite stressful getting to the Mun, so you might as well take some pictures while you're over the Mun, because it's definitely one of the more pretty sights in Kerbal space program. I mean, you must have seen some of the other rockets people have made. They're not a sight to see. They're painful to the eyes, I would say. I mean, they're sometimes somehow effective, but they're definitely not the prettiest flowers or prettiest rockets. So you see, I'm just taking a few pictures, just taking in the Mun and my little lander that's just landed on it. I've already travelled all the way across the entire marsh, which is like hundreds of kilometres. So that shows you how fast I'm moving, even though it doesn't seem that fast. So once again, just checking my map. I time warp a bit so I can get a different angle for the picture. I don't really know why I went down to 1x speed, but as you can see, I come out here. Then I realised it would have been cool to actually zoom out and get the Mun, the Kerbin and the sun all in one photo. But I end up just settling for pointing the nose of the lander at the Kerbin, and that turned out an alright picture because it actually took all the dark side of the lander and the sun was the only bright thing in the picture, which actually looked decent. And I would recommend actually taking pictures when you're doing something in Kerbal Space Program, because if you have a friend, you can send pictures to them and they might actually be impressed. Who knows? Your math teacher will definitely like you because you're doing maths in your spare time on orbital, whatever you call it, orbital mechanics, that's what you're doing, or something. But now I'm coming into the very big planet called Kerbin. Yes, so you see me start to brake here because I might as well use up the fuel to try and make it softer or less G's coming into the atmosphere, or a bit softer coming into the atmosphere. it's still going to like give Bill Kerbin a headache and then some, because he'll be slammed downwards. But anyways, there goes my final stage. I start to do deploy settings, so I set it to max altitude, because sooner you deploy this parachute the better, because you don't want it to not deploy, because you're going to hit the floor really hard. I actually play with the minimum pressure a bit, so I actually set it higher. I'm not really sure what that does. I'll find out for the next video maybe, or find out in the future. But yeah, I just do all that and then start time warping. And I think I accidentally time warp into the planet's atmosphere slightly. So I go down to 4, forgetting how fast I'm moving. Then realise I'm actually coming into the atmosphere. And then goes the fire. Funnily enough, it gets a little warm or very warm when you come in at 3,000 meters a second. I actually say it's risky, because I prefer it to open and fail than not open at all. And here you see me slow down. I'm like, oh my word, it's 5,000 meters already, and I'm going a hell of a speed. But actually it works. And then I slowly drift down towards the surface of Kerbin. So I'll cut it here at like 4,000 meters. So you don't have to watch the really long descent. So now we're about to splash down. So we splash down and make it in one piece. Like this is like, when I was actually doing this, I actually got up and was celebrating actually doing this, because I so thought the parachute was going to fail at first, or the heat shield was going to fail. So yeah, that was really fun, or really one of the happiest moments in KSP2. So I'll give you some time to read all of this. I actually read a bit of it myself, but I'll go back to KSPC or KSC. Go into mission control, and I'll just quickly get up the debriefs. So I'll submit this, and you guys can read the debrief if you want. So she's saying how it matches the colour of the tile she was thinking to put in her bathroom and other random stuff, which I don't really know why it's actually relevant, or why this debrief's relevant, but I guess it is Kerbal Space Program. They're not exactly the best at being space. Oh, astronauts. We get a really cool animation of the sun going behind it and all the gems lighting up. For spacewalking, we get a thing about structural support, wanting to put EVA-like structure because they thought it would be dangerous, and we've just proven it's not that hard just to cling on to the module and not let go, because you're terrified of being flung off it. So we get another thumbs up, like for the satellite. And we're going to have wheeling and dealing as one of the next side missions. And bad signal is the next mission that we'll be doing, hopefully in the next video, which is about putting a satellite around Minas. So I time warp a little too fast here to try and see where the hell we are. It turns out we're in the middle of the ocean. I think it's where we landed the probe, but I was not expecting this. I zoom out, then there's just like a bit of a desert and that's about it near it. So we're like in the middle of the ocean. So please also like and subscribe, because it helps this channel so much and it helps me squash less Kerbals. And please click the notification bell. Bye.